When he stepped back onto the hangout, like he goes right in front of the camera and he like tries to duck in front of the camera, but he's like this. Right in front of the camera.
He was at all times just walk.
And then today in the chat,
And you got to turn off the computer feed, maybe?
so he gets in the chat. Like he was.
What, you can't hear?
I actually was a 5-star review. Like, I know he didn't read. I want one with a real hard ass. Like again, I want you to like grill him or something like that. Bring him on and just toast him.
I would just be too entertained by the weirdness.
The picture seems you're just
You're not connected to
you're
it. That's not the
mortified.
roadcaster, that's the roadcaster. I mean, that's the microphone of the camera.
Like this.
It just stares.
And he's wearing that and he's just.
Welcome to the Lock Shop with Nielson and Hustler, powered by Coolbet Canada.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lock Shop. Sorry for the brief delay, but thank you very much for joining us. If you are listening on TuneIn or at edmontonsportstalk.com, you can text us anytime. 780-218-9999. Nasty Chat is already hopping here as well. I feel like I'm hearing Pat Gregoire kicking around. He's not in yet. Oh, yeah, there he is. We got P. Greggy. He's going to pop in as well. We'll get to the NHL slate tonight. Didn't hit on the part. Man, we almost hit on that EST parlay. That one was greasy last night. As we had the Oilers on the money line. We had McDavid over 1.5 points, easy peasy. He finishes with 6 assists. Had the Bouchard point. He had a goal in that game, chipped in with a helper or two as well. And all we needed was the Red Wings under 3.5, and then they get one relatively late-ish in the third period to kill us over there. But the Vancouver Canucks came through in the lock shot play of the day with the puck line cover, winning 4-2 against the Chicago Blackhawks. Trends be damned when it comes to the Chicago Blackhawks and the Vancouver Canucks. We got the Genesis that we're going to set up here today, myself and Pat Gregoire. You can find him on Twitter at @PGreggy. Light slate in the NHL tonight, but Tiger Woods is back on the scene, so obviously we'll get into that a little bit. If anybody's got a Tiger play, feel free to chime in. Lighter slate in the National Hockey League tonight. We'll certainly get to that. But if you have any plays there, feel free to slide on into the Nasty Chat as well, or you can text us. Great hangout today. Dean Millard and Will Fraser. I was joking with them after that I could see a show right now here on Edmonton Sports Talk that's just called I Disagree With That, featuring Will Fraser and Dean Millard, which I think would be outstanding content. That'd be good. All right, let's bring in Pat Gregoire today. P. Greggy, how you doing, buddy?
Licking my wounds last night from some wagering in the NHL. A couple of tough beats for that lock shot parlay. Jake and I certainly didn't do our part. You did your part with the Canucks on the puck line. But my favorite bet ended up cashing, and it wasn't pretty. It was the Leafs team total. And going into that game, I was crapping my pants because not only are they without Morgan Riley, and then you find out 20 minutes before puck drop, no Mitch Marner, no John Tavares. And it's the first time since JT joined the team that all three of those guys would not be in the lineup. But I said they were going to rally around it. Boy, did they rally around it, but they rallied in the other way. They played a nice, tidy, tight defensive hockey game. They only gave up 15 shots. So the way the game was going, I'm like, there's no way this team total is going to cash, even though they scored 2 quick ones. But Bobby McMahon from the press box to
from the heavens, the heavens, buddy.
Yes, exactly. He saved the day. He saved the bet. Scored his first career hat trick. Wasn't even supposed to be playing. I joked last night on Twitter. I threw out a tweet. Okay, so where exactly does the Bobby McMahon statue now go on Legends Row? Is he going to be in between Doug Gilmour and Wendell Clark? Are they going to put him beside Johnny Bauer? Tongue in cheek, nonetheless. But I think some people thought I was being serious.
Well, there's got to be a Bobby McMahon buzz in Toronto today, though, right?
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. I mean, there's probably people already calling for him to. Well, why does Mitch Marner need to be playing on the first line with Austin Matthews? Why don't we just move Bobby McMahon up there to play on the first line? Some crazy takes probably happening this morning. I was going to throw it out as a joke on Twitter, but sometimes that ends up just being a little bit of a dumpster fire. I was going to say that Bobby McMahon's the greatest hockey player to ever play with the name Bobby, but I feel like that joke would go over a lot of people's heads.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one. That's gonna be a tough one.
But nonetheless, I had fun with it, and it was a good game from that standpoint. And the bets were great in that game. I think I also hit what was the other one? Nick Robertson for him to have a point. So that was nice, but I still feel bad. Jake and I feel bad for letting down the lock shoppers with our parlay picks.
It's not the end of the world. I mean, I let people down by taking the Red Wings under 3.5 goals. They got that fourth one kind of late, and it killed us because the rest of that parlay was wrapped up. I was like, come on, just not one more goal, and then they end up getting one a little bit later on. Mind you, I mean, I would assume a lot of Oilers fans would have been on a lot of the over player props in that game, and probably the Oilers team total over and a lot of that. So probably a decent night for Edmonton as far as that game goes last night. How about Primo? Mark pointed this out. I was going to get to when you mentioned a tidy game from the Leafs. Primo had 13 shots he faced to pick up the shutout in net for the Habs last night. So not a lot of offense on the one side of that game either. Really nothing happening there.
I mean, if you would have told me, hey, Montreal is going to score 5,
you would have liked the yeah. I know.
It would have been nice if we had a pulse from the other side, but absolutely brutal on that bet there. And then I know it's not nice, and I because Jake's not here to defend himself, and I gave him my vote of confidence as well. But that might be one of the most incorrect picks in the history of the lock shop.
The Kings?
But I mean, if you're wrong, if you're wrong, you might as well be like, it doesn't matter if you place a money line bet, and if you lose by 1 goal in overtime or you lose by 50, it doesn't matter. You might as well get it really wrong. Boy, did we not have a good read in that game.
That was a tough one. I mean, I sat here and said, yeah, I can see the Kings are frustrating. The Kings are frustrating. We saw them play the Oilers. Now, did the Kings get a little bit lucky at times in that game? Sure, but they were definitely the better team than the Edmonton Oilers, and they shut them out. And then they go out, and Buffalo hangs 7 on them. I do like that. I'm tweeting it out right now. One of the most incorrect picks in the history of the lock shop. Oh, that's too good. We are looking at you, Jake. No, at least it wasn't the only thing that screwed us last night, so we got that going for us.
Exactly. I still, my pick was wrong there. And I really, really wish I would have pivoted to the Toronto team total pick. But hey, that's why they call it gambling, right?
I was a little worried. So I send Jake the play of the day. It was the Canucks. We talked about them a little bit earlier. I was like, you know what? I'm going to save it for the play of the day. Do the video, send it to Jake. He posts it. 5 minutes later, I don't know if it was you or Jake that texted me the English stuff, and it's like, here's a reason that you might want to be on the Hawks tonight, and the Canucks are 5-8, and all this stuff, and I replied with the Ron Burgundy gift, like, I don't care, bring it. I'm going to take the Vancouver Canucks in this situation. Chicago Blackhawks actually ended up really blowing up offensively. They scored 2 goals in that game, which is rare for them as of late, but the Canucks still managed to get the job done. And, at least I managed to come away with that. But behind the scenes, when you guys sent me that info, there's a little bit of a sweat. Briefly, there's a little bit of a sweat. I was like, damn it, that's why the line was fishy. Right away, I was like, okay, this is starting to make a little bit of sense now. But in the end, the Vancouver Canucks got it done. And that's one of the things that I talked about a little bit yesterday, when we were laying out the Canucks. I said, you look at this number, and you're sitting here going, okay, well, all season long, we've been like, Vancouver, are they going to continue to do it? And my God, they continue to do it. Like I know, a win over Chicago is not going to be something that a lot of people are going to write home about. It's not going to be a game that you remember. But the Vancouver Canucks are now 36-12-6. They lead the league in wins. They lead the league in points. They lead the league in road wins. They're 18-4-2 at home. They're 18-8-4 on the road. I mean, there's really no reason. They've got the goaltender in Demko. They've got arguably the best defenseman in the league this year in Hughes. They might have Kessel at some point. I don't know what that means. But the Vancouver Canucks, I mean, they should probably start being talked about as the best team in the league, but nobody really is ready to admit that yet, are they, Patty?
They aren't. And the thing that I liked about that win last night for them as well, it wasn't the horses that carried them in that game. Like Pettersson had 0. When you look at, I think Quinn Hughes maybe had an assist. Besser had nothing. JT Miller had nothing. It was a huge game from that line with Dakota Joshua and Connor Garland. And Garland had 2. Dakota had 3 points. Hoglander had 1. So, I mean, yeah, is their roster outside of the top? It's not the sexiest of teams, but man, they just get things done. And it has been their depth pieces that have come out to play when the offense has gone a little bit dry for some of their big guys. It hasn't happened too often, let's be quite honest. And, Demko didn't have to be a world beater last night, but when he is called upon and they do need a big game from him, he's been great. This Canucks team, I don't know. Well, one, we know the center of the hockey universe does revolve around Toronto from a media standpoint. I know I'm going to get some heat.
Patty froze. Patty froze just as he said he was about to get some heat for this. Hey, boys, we might need to reconnect Patty. He froze just as he was about to say he's going to get some heat for this. I'm going to take a look at the futures here. Because the Vancouver Canucks, as I just mentioned, those stats, the Canucks, this is from Jeff Patterson last night, 36-12-6, 18-4-2 at home, 18 wins on the road. They're 18-4-4 on the road. Most wins, most regulation wins, most points, most road wins right now for the Vancouver Canucks. Now, I do know that, look at some of the deeper analytics. I know you're getting PDO, like their PDO is amazing right now, and that's something that you can certainly look at. But right now on the odds, Stanley Cup odds, the Oilers are plus 625 favorites at Coolbet. The Avs are plus 850. The Bruins are 10-1. The Panthers are 11-1. The Hurricanes are 12-1. The Carolina Hurricanes right now, 12-1. The Rangers 13-1. The Canucks 13-1. The Dallas Stars 13-1. So a Carolina team that has never even really had a sniff of showing that they could actually get it done in the postseason are still better odds to win the Stanley Cup than the Vancouver Canucks, who I just laid out, lead the league in wins, regulation wins, points, and road wins. Are we continuing to disrespect the Vancouver Canucks? What do we say here? 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, or you can hit us up in the nasty chat as well, because I hate to say, I mean, we're sitting here in Edmonton, and the Oilers are obviously the Stanley Cup favorite over at Coolbet right now. But Zach, he's back in the waiting room. I think you might have the wrong waiting room up. I think he's back in there somewhere. I think he's lurking around. There he is. He's just waiting to be. Yeah, we're gonna get Pat back. I want to figure out what he had to say about the center of the world. We're going to bring him back in. Pete Gregoire, right as you said, they're probably going to kill me for this. You froze, and we're like, what? What's happening?
I know the higher powers at the Toronto Sports Network. I mean, sorry, the Sports Network.
Yes, that's right.
My feed. What I was going to say though was just despite obviously again the East Coast bias that there is clearly in the media, I'll hand up that's a real thing. But the fact of the matter is that let's be honest, outside of Vancouver, there's not a lot of people who really like to root for Vancouver. They're a very hateable fan base. They're a very hateable team. In years past with some of the teams that they had, and I think from a fan base standpoint, just a hockey fan doesn't really want to give them credit. And I don't think, when you look at, and maybe I'm wrong, but when you look at some of the preseason write-ups or previews, not a ton of people had Vancouver too high on their list. It was mostly Edmonton. It was mostly Toronto. From a Canadian standpoint, at least. Even a lot of people had Ottawa. Ottawa was going to be.
It's going to be a step ahead this year. Yeah.
Exactly. No one really gave credit for the Canucks, and I think people are still not ready to eat crow with this Canucks team, and they're waiting for the fall off. I think it's fair to say there isn't going to be a drop. Maybe there is a drop off per se, but I don't think they're falling off a cliff here. I don't think they're going to have an epic collapse. This is a good hockey team. This is a hockey team that has, from top to bottom, pretty much everything they need to do to go on a run. And they're probably going to add more at the deadline at some point. They're probably going to bring in some pieces. This is a team that can go deep. The unfortunate thing is like what you and Jake and myself talked about yesterday. The West is a wagon. It's a meat grinder. It's going to be so tough to get out of the West. This is the year where I think you look at the East and say, man, instead of years where, you're playing just like top contender after top contender coming out, like I think a team from the East might be able to easily cakewalk themselves to the finals, where in the West, we could be seeing long series like game 7 after game 7 and just a war of attrition to just even get out of the West, never mind win the Stanley Cup.
It's funny because when you were gone, I was kind of looking at the odds, and Carolina right now is at 12-1, and the Vancouver Canucks are at 13-1. And I was trying to figure out why that would be right now, but you make the interesting point. The West could end up being such a killer for some of these teams to come through it. That has to be the reason that Carolina would be better odds right now than Vancouver to win the Stanley Cup, right?
I think that's the case. It's just their road is going to be a little bit easier. I think also the fact that, at least at Coolbet, I can't speak to some of the other books, there's already a lot of risk on Carolina to win. I know a lot of the analytic folks really do like that Carolina team. They have for the last few years. They feel like this is another year for them to take that next step and get over the hump. So, and you also think as well, a lot of the numbers that go into making these odds come from analytics. So hence why they would be a little bit ranked higher as well. But they're a team, man, until they do it, like, I'm not getting fooled by them. I'm not getting fooled by the preseason articles that say this is the year to do it, because every year it seems like it's the same group that goes, and everyone keeps wanting to say this is the year that they do it, and they haven't done it. So when are they going to get over the hump? I think if you put that team, in a Canadian market, they're probably pegged as like chokers and saying like, what's going on with this group?
They would have been blown up 3 times over already.
But because it's a nice, cozy Carolina where, they probably only have 2 or 3 reporters coming each and every day to morning skate until the playoffs, there's not really much pressure going on there. And don't get me wrong, they've got a great, passionate fan base.
Oh, yeah.
Down in Carolina.
And they do have a great team, but it's just how do you expect anything different, right? It's always the same thing.
It's the same thing over and over again, right? So, it'd be interesting if they were the Halifax Hurricanes instead. What would that team, would they be feeling a little more pressure than they are right now down in Carolina?
What do you think? One more on the Canucks and last night's slate. We'll take it's a small one tonight. We can get into that. And then these I know Jake had messaged me about the exclusives. I brought up the exclusives. You guys went to work today. I mean, I don't even care what the number is. We got to bet these based on the name alone, but we'll get to that in a second. What do you think of Phil Kessel? He's going to skate with Abbotsford, and then we'll see where it goes. What do you think of just a guy with Stanley Cup experience? I'm not too sure what he's going to bring to the table still, but what do you think about that for the Vancouver Canucks?
I don't think it's at this point. I think it's a low risk, high reward. I think if you bring him in the locker room, he's not this young Phil Kessel that I think maybe early in his career kind of was deemed as like a guy that could rock the boat. And if he's not getting he's tough to be around. This is a guy that, again, in Toronto, I think got a very bad rap just based off where the franchise was. A couple of bad articles about some made up stories about him eating hot dogs. And let's be honest, obviously the guy does not, scream the most in shape player in the National Hockey League, but he was the Iron Man holder for quite some time. Like, he would rarely ever miss games. He clearly kept his body in enough shape where he could play for so long. You talk to any guys through those Toronto teams in that locker room, they absolutely love Phil. You talk to guys in Pittsburgh, they love him. Phil's Phil. He's a different cat. He's going to keep things loose. He's probably not going to be the guy that steps up in the middle of the locker room and gives you the rah-rah speech and wants to make you go run through a brick wall. But he's also going to be the guy when you go through that midseason lull and things are kind of going a little bit stale, and when Vancouver ultimately gets that road loss or that losing streak, he's going to be the guy that keeps things loose and light in the locker room. He's a vibes guy. And let's be honest, scoring goals in the National Hockey League is really tough to come by. If you can find a way to give him some depth minutes and then play on your second power play unit, he's going to score. Like, I think if he comes in and can at least just be a depth piece, a character guy in the room and score some big goals for you down the stretch, it's worth bringing him in. I don't know if that puts you over the hump, but I definitely don't think it's going to completely tailspin your season and be a bad move. And at this point, it can't cost you much either.
I mean, if it doesn't cost you anything, basically. If it doesn't work, then that's it. Don't worry about it. He only played 4 games in the playoff run last year for Vegas, but during the regular season, he played all 82. He had 14 goals, and he had 36 points. It's not like he was completely washed in the regular season last year. He managed to contribute a little bit. You bring this guy in, plays the final 30 games of the season, gets you 5 goals, 6 goals, provides some experience in the room for a team that doesn't necessarily have a lot of playoff experience. I don't see the downside to it at all. So that'd be fun. It'd be a fun story to see Phil Kessel back out there.
It'd be awesome, and the NHL is a better place when Phil's in the league, and he's also the type of guy that can play down in your lineup. But I mean, for stretches of time, you definitely don't want him playing top 6 minutes. But if your offense kind of gets cold, or even mid game, you just need something different. He has the capabilities to go up and play on a line with Pettersson and JT Miller. If offense is stale, he can pop on that first power play unit again if things are going sideways. He's not like one of these tough grizzled vets that you bring in and you literally can only afford him to play on the 4th line and play that one role. He is pretty dynamic when it goes to that. I know he's not the Phil Kessel of a few years ago, but again, he still can skate, he can still shoot. And I truly think that any team would be crazy not to at least open up the conversation in bringing Phil Kessel in. And I think Vancouver's a perfect spot for him.
You can text us anytime, 780-218-9999, or hit us up in the nasty chat as well. Duck Dad says, AHL game to look at tonight, Condors and Eagles. Eagles starting Prosvetov, who has been a brick wall the last 2 games. Condors probable with Jack Campbell, second of a back-to-back. Last game, 2-1 Condors. Duck Dad is leading Condors under 2.5, or an Eagles win in regulation. We had a couple plays earlier in the National Hockey League tonight. Spency 5-Centy. This is an interesting one because I was kind of looking at this game as well. There's not a lot of games tonight. We'll set them up here in just a second. Then we're going to get to the Genesis Tigers back. So we'll have to get into that. Lots of just Tiger things you can do over at CoolBet as well. But Spency 5-Centy says, I like the Pens team total under 2.5, plus 100 in CoolBet. Pens are averaging 2.2 goals scored in their last 5 games, just 2.9 over the season. Florida is starting Bobrovsky and he has a 2.43 goals against average. Like I said, a light night in the National Hockey League. Let's give you your starting goalies, and then just a few takes on this 3-game slate here. Kakkonen will start for the Sharks. Connor Hellebuck listed as likely for the Jets. The Jets, that's one of those 2.5 games on the puck line. Florida Panthers, Pittsburgh Penguins, Bobrovsky, Tristan Jarry, both confirmed. Connor Ingram confirmed for the Arizona Coyotes. Marc-Andre Fleury right now listed as unconfirmed for the Minnesota Wild. As for the odds on these 3 games tonight, Pittsburgh Penguins at home, plus 109. Dogs on the money line. Florida, minus 128 road favorites. The San Jose Sharks, plus 350 road dogs. Winnipeg, minus 446. That's a lot to swallow at home. Like I said, 2.5 on the puck line at plus 120 if you like them to win by 3 or more. If you move that to just 1.5, it is minus 167. And then a tight one there with the Wild and the Coyotes. Minnesota, slight favorite on the road at minus 117 on the money line. The Coyotes right now paying minus 101 at home on the money line. Not a lot to choose from here, Patty, but is there one or two things that do jump off the page for you?
Well, my apologies for forgetting who said that in the chat, but that kind of ties into one of the plays that I was really interested in that Florida Pittsburgh under 6 goals at minus 111. Maybe the right play is to go with the Penguins team total under, just based off the stats and the trends that he threw out there. But just the way that Pittsburgh's offense is going, the way that the Panthers have been playing, Bobrovsky's been playing, it led me to believe that I like the under there. I also like Florida money line. I was leaning more to the under, so maybe I go Florida Panthers to win, and then also sprinkle in the other bet. But I mean, if I had to go with my initial gut, it was the under 6 for that game on that one. Because you said you were thinking about that game.
Well, I was thinking about that game a little bit earlier on, and I was doing a little bit of prep between shows here, and I was thinking the exact same thing that Spency 5 Cents was thinking, and that was the Penguin team total under 2.5. If you're looking if somebody's looking to sprinkle something into a parlay today, I don't mind moving the total in that game up to 6.5 and taking the under minus 139. That's certainly a number you could parlay with something else as well. So I think there's something there from that game. Should be a really good hockey game. I'm looking forward to that one for sure. Winnipeg, San Jose, it's tough with these big numbers like this. I mean, it's also tough because we've seen the Sharks in some of these games where they've been huge underdogs, cover or in some cases pull off the win. So I don't even know if I want to get on it at 2.5. 1.5 right now would be minus 167. Not necessarily sure that's worth it either. But is that a stay away game basically for you, Jets and Sharks, or how do you? I mean, I guess you could parlay it Jets in regulation with the under 6.5 in Florida Pittsburgh. That might do it. I'm gonna put that all together right now just to see what that's at.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty nice. I think this might maybe be a bet builder game too. If you're desperate, to get some action, if you are a Jets fan, maybe you're heading down to the game, whatever it may be. For me though, I'm looking towards shot props because nobody in the National Hockey League gives up more 5-on-5 chances than this Sharks team.
And San Jose, yeah.
They give up a ton of shots, and the Jets, when that offense is humming, they're tough to stop. So just pulling up the player shots right now. I want to see if it moved. It hasn't yet. Nikolai Ehlers, I know 4 shots is a lot, but you're getting plus money on that. He also plays on the first power play unit. He's been on fire as of late. So I would considering maybe, what's his goal number here? Plus 158. Yeah, I'll probably sprinkle an Ehlers goal, but my safer, and I don't even want to call it safer because you're getting plus money here at plus 105. But over 3, and I thought it was going to be closer to like minus 115, 120. But you're getting plus money on it. So I really like an Ehlers over 3.5 shots there. Even just looking, I know Scheifele doesn't shoot the puck nearly as much as some of the other guys on the team, like a Connor shot prop right now, 3.5 at minus 143. Like, so I thought we would be seeing something a little bit closer or in between Connor and Ehlers there for him. But Scheifele, 2.5 shots, minus 150. Like, I think that this is a game that the Jets absolutely pepper the Sharks. Again, the 2.5 puck line is just, it's too much for me. And even when you go to in reg, it's crazy things happen in the NHL, especially in February. Guys have off nights. Goalies can stand on their head. Goalies can really change games. I'm not saying that's going to happen here tonight. You never know. Weird things have happened in the NHL. So my best bet here, I'm going to go with an Ehlers shots on goal, but I'll also sprinkle a goal as well.
I'll take a look at these exclusives in 1 second. First of all, a couple of things here. Rod Z slides in. He's got an over, and the Pens win 5-2. That'd be quite something. Also points out that the Sharks have not played in 13 days. Richard Croft says, I love 97 with 6 assists, but I could have used more than 2 shots on goal from him, though. I needed one more to cash a 7-player shots on goal sprinkle. That would have been nice. Yeah, that would have been good. He said, Bouchard, though, made the night worthwhile with my 5-unit investment on season points being cashed in. So thank you, Cool Bet, for that one. That was, remember when they first dropped that? You guys dropped that, it was 44.5, and Edmonton just killed it, and it moved up to like 52.5 two days later.
Yeah, I think at that time, or maybe like 2 weeks later, I think in our top 5 NHL future player props, 3 of them were Bouchard props because the line had just changed so many times.
I'm on all of them.
So many people were boom, boom. Oh, it goes up. I'm going to hit that one too. So there might be people over the next 2-3 weeks. I shouldn't even say 2-3 weeks, 2-3 games for the Oilers. They might be cashing multiple Bouchard player point props. So kudos to you guys. Hey, you saw a line, you took it, you ran with it. So I think next year it'd be very interesting to see what the Polar Bears in the back shop put together for his point total.
McDiesel is in on YouTube and says, guys, I've been around for 3 shows today. Am I becoming a nasty? That's right, McDiesel. When you watch the Nielsen show and then you stick around for the hangout, which was fired today, and now you're here on the Lock Shop. And you're not going to leave before the oil stream starts at noon. So, yes, I would think you're probably fitting in as an AM nasty. Okay, let's get to these exclusives. Then we got to get to the Genesis. There's lots to talk about here, obviously, with Tiger back on the scene, a bunch of guys that I like. It's tough limiting it to 3, actually, this week. But we'll get into that. But Cool Bet exclusives today. This is great. So it's always you and Jake put these together?
Yeah, Jake and I usually put these ones together.
All right. These names are great. You have my Reinhart, Sam Reinhart. These are Valentine's Day, obviously, people. Just to link it together for those of you who are like, I don't get it. It's Valentine's Day today. So you have my Reinhart, Sam Reinhart to score, Florida to win, plus 225. Faber of love, as opposed to a labor of love. I don't know. Who came up with that one?
That's Jake.
I feel like Jake is really cheesy, eh?
Oh, he's cheesy. He's a sweetheart, though. This Valentine's is right up his alley.
He's a romantic. He texted me yesterday. He goes, "Hey, can you find me the lock? I got a Valentine's date tonight with my girl." I was just like, "Okay, we'll get this done."
I know he's a younger guy.
Yeah,
but that's an absolute veteran play. Doing your Valentine's the day before Valentine's, avoid the rush, avoid the premium pricing. It's a smart kid right there.
It's a smart move. And now I have a wife that I've been married to. It'll be 14 years this year. And she made it clear about 5 or 6 years ago, she doesn't appreciate flowers on Valentine's Day. She's like, bring me flowers March 9th. That means more than flowers on Valentine's Day. I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a good point. So I'm totally flower free on Valentine's Day. I love it. It's great. I don't have to deal with any of that stuff.
Save you some money too, because they mark up.
Of course. The price it's going to be ridiculous. Anyway, the Faber of love, Brock Faber, phenomenal rookie season, to record 1 assist and 2 shots on goal, plus 275. Perfetti for me, Cole Perfetti to score a goal. Winnipeg wins in regulation, plus 360. You're my favorites, Florida Panthers, Winnipeg Jets, Minnesota Wild, all to win tonight. The more I see, the more I want, which might be my favorite. I think that's probably my favorite. That's plus 385. It's Morrissey with 2 points. Jets to win in regulation. Looks that Kirill, also solid work. Kirill Kaprizov to record 1 goal, 1 assist. Minnesota Wild to win, plus 475. And together forever, Crosby, Malkin, Letang to each record a point, and the Penguins to win at plus 550. I love the names, man. Well done today. Salute to you guys. It reminds me of
Thank you.
remember those little heart candies you'd get as kids,
Yes.
and they'd have the words in there. That was always good. I don't even know
Oh,
if they
yeah.
do that anymore in school. I'm not sure if they do the little heart candies anymore.
I don't know. When we were putting these together, I was just thinking of like cool bet Valentine's Day, like bet slips, like with little hearts and
Yeah.
then the picture of the players on there, like something to think of for next year. Together Forever, though, I'll give Jake that one his credit. The name maybe not as clever of a pun as the other ones, but just the fact that it's Crosby, Malkin, Letang. I mean, they quite literally have been.
They've
together
spent like
forever.
15
I thought he
Valentine's
knocked
Day
that one
together,
out
those
right.
guys. So it makes sense.
Yeah, I know. Right?
Spency 5 cents, he says Jake is the Gene Principe of Cool Bet. Which is good. Principe,
Nice.
master of puns. That's good. Mark says they totally still do the heart candies. I did not know
Okay,
that.
good to know.
All I want from Valentine's Day for my wife is like a couple of Lindor Lints. That's it. I love the Lindor Lint chocolates. She got me like the Lindor Lint chocolate heart box. There's like 5 Lindor Lints in there and
very
a
nice.
bunch of unnecessary packaging, but it was absolutely delicious. That was good. That was last night. All right, let's slide over to the Genesis as Wednesday moving forward, obviously with football now behind us until the CFL season starts in early June. We like to spend Wednesdays setting up the golf action, and for that we have the 2024 Genesis Invitational, and that does feature Tiger, and there are Tiger specials. If you click on golf, you'll see it, Tiger specials. You've got some Tiger head-to-head, Tiger round 1 score, Tiger round 1 finish, Tiger to record a hole-in-one, sprinkle it at plus 10,000. Why not? What's the buzz like this time around? Like, it seems he hasn't played since the Masters, right? We haven't seen him competitively since the Masters, I think.
Competitively, no.
Yeah.
Competitively, we have not, and I think there's a lot of buzz around him for many reasons. Obviously, there's no denying. Actually, we saw him in the what's the event? The family event. The
one where he plays with his son. Yeah.
So, but still, in terms of an actual PGA Tour event, we haven't seen him since then, and I think there's a lot on the line for him. Obviously, he's the biggest, like the competitive edge is something that when you talk about the greats, he had it and he could have potentially had the best. Like I know as a golfer himself, he had some tools in his tool bag that no other golfer had, but he would win tournaments just based off of just his killer instinct, his intimidation. Like he would beat guys before they even picked up their bag out of their trunks of the car, because they just knew he was going to do everything to win. He still has that fire, I think, in his belly. He still does, and he still wants to compete. Like, I don't know. But there's got to be some doubt in his mind. And this is an event that he always comes to. He hasn't had the most success here, to be quite frank. But this is always like a little bit of a reminder for him. Okay, can I still compete? And I think he wants to prove, not just to everyone, that it's, hey, this isn't just a nice story. Tiger's back. He's hitting some nice drives. He's going to make a couple of nice putts. And, we'll go, he'll make the cut and to finish, T37 and go on his day. I think he really, really wants to prove that he does legitimately have another chance to compete and play in some of these big tournaments and have some good finishes. I also think, again, Tiger being the ultimate competitor, he just launched a new brand, Sunday
Yes, he
Red.
did.
I don't know if you've seen it.
I saw it.
And the last thing I think he wants is to launch this and have him, fall flat on his face. He wants this, like, he is a perfectionist. He wants this, the amount of work that probably went into the branding alone with him being there probably was so much. And he wants to make sure there's a reason that he launched this brand the week of his tournament that he hosts. There's a lot on the line for him from a business standpoint. And say what you will, Tiger supporters are always going to support Tiger. But if the brand doesn't launch really well, he doesn't really play well, it kind of loses a little bit of its luster, doesn't it? So I think he's going to have a chip on his shoulder. Is he going to win the tournament? Probably not. Like you said, why not sprinkle a few of those? But I think we see Tiger on the leaderboard somewhere early on in this tournament. I'm not saying he's going to win the thing, but I think he's going to go on a stretch where a lot of people are going to be like, holy crap, is Tiger back?
Well,
can he do it for four rounds?
Yeah, that's different.
Right?
You're right. That's different. I mean, I hope he can. I hope Tiger on Sunday finishes 7th. I think that would be great. I would love to see it.
Yeah.
So,
and Dusty, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to get to the specials. Finish up your thought.
What I was going to say too was, you, myself, Huss, we follow golf. We're betting every week. And to be quite honest, there has never been the star power that we've ever seen in the PGA. That like the PGA, and sure, Live kind of takes a little bit from some of the other names.
100%.
Let's just say golf itself has never had so much power and star power in the game where it is. But as soon as Tiger is in the mix, the needle is moving. And it's not even the needle's moving. Tiger is the needle. He just changes things. He draws in a different crowd that's watching, because I've got buddies who say they love golf and, they'll flip on the majors and watch it. They love playing golf, but they're not watching every single weekend. For them to get truly invested in golf, they need Tiger. And I don't know if it's just because it's Tiger, but, all these, Scotty Scheffler, John Rahm, Rory McIlroy, Victor Hovland, like the names go on and on and on and on. These guys are superstars, but they're not Tiger. And I think the fact that the game is in the best place it's ever been, and if you could sprinkle in a couple of tournaments where Tiger's in the hunt, man, golf could not be in a better place.
For what Coolbet is offering right now, let's take a look at it. There's 3 tournament head-to-heads. Ricky Fowler, minus 147, Tiger, plus 115. Aberg, minus 333, Tiger, plus 240. And Scotty Scheffler, if he can pull it off. Scheffler's minus 667, but Tiger, plus 425 there. Tiger's first round score, 73.5, over, plus 110, under 154. First round, top 5 finish for Tiger, 12-1. That's plus 1,200. Tiger to lead after any round, including ties, 25-1. Tiger to record the hole in one, 100-1. Tiger Woods first round birdies or better, 3.5, plus 105 on the over, under minus 147. And then this is one that I like, I think. Tiger Woods finishing position, 47.5, over minus 118, under minus 118. I believe he finished 45th here last year. You kind of figured what's sort of moderately on the line this time around. To have him inside the top 46 at minus, or top 47 at minus 118, I feel pretty good about it.
I really like that one. And there's a few here that I really like, and there's probably one or two that I just sprinkled to have some fun. I think the cut line's at about 50, I think I saw. It goes from 70 something to 50. So if you're betting the under there, you're pretty much, you're close to him making the cut.
Yeah.
And if you think he does have one of those great rounds in him, it's probably going to be enough for him to make that cut line and finish. And the thing that scares me about this line, which I'm still going to take the under, is we talked about it. Can he survive 4 rounds? Like, he might have 2-3 really, really good rounds. And then come Sunday, his leg is toast. It seems, all indications, like I saw him, some clips that were going out, and he's mashing the ball.
It does look like he's mashing the ball. Yeah.
He's hammering the ball, but is that going to be able to last the whole time? I think so. So I'm going to take the under there. I really, really like this one, and I feel bad because Ricky was a great story last year. I like him to beat Ricky Fowler head-to-head. Fowler has been falling off a cliff since 3 quarters through the season last year. He hasn't been able to find his way. And again, Tiger doesn't even really have to play out of his mind here. Like, I think there's an instance where Tiger just finishes in the 40s or the 30s and Ricky Fowler is missing the cut completely. There's where Ricky's game is right now gives me zero confidence to bet him. And I think this is a fun bet here. I also, again, I'm not saying this is a great way to make money here, but it's going to be a lot of fun. Tiger Woods to lead after any round, 25-1. I'm going to take that and have some fun with it. Why not?
All right, well, let's get to our best bets for the Genesis. And then, seeing what we come up with here, I feel like we'd easily put together a little partner parlay for the tournament as well. So, Patty, who do you like? Give me your top 2 or 3 bets.
Yeah, you mentioned it. There's so many. Maybe I'll have to put my full card out on
Yeah.
Twitter or something because there's a lot of bets and outside of just winners. But I'll give you probably my 3 favorite outrights because there's more than just the 3. Colin Morikawa at 18-1. Course history is big here, and he's been really good here. He's 5th in strokes gained in the field, and he has two top 10 finishes in his last 2 Genesis Open. So he's also been okay to start this year. Pretty solid. I think he missed the cut 2 tournaments ago, but he's been pretty okay since then. Speaking of course history, Max Homa. This guy has owned this course.
Yep.
I mean, he can walk out of his childhood bed and walk to the course. He has dominated here. Finished second solo last year, finished top 10 T10 the year before. He won it in 21 and finished T5 in 2020. He has the best or the 5th best strokes gained. So I really like him there. And then my third is, it's tough because there's 3 other ones that I would say that I'm right neck right now deciding what I would be, but I'm going to run it back with Sahith Theegala. If Theegala could just putt on Sunday, this past Sunday, he wins that tournament walking away, like no problems at all. He just really couldn't figure things out with a flat stick. Couple of really bad shots off the tee as well kind of hurt him. He just hasn't found that killer instinct just quite yet. He's a California guy, always plays well at these California swings. I think he's in the top 10 in strokes gained in the field here. He finished T6 last year as well. So he's a guy that has some course history here. So I'm going to go back with Theegala. Theegala, I really like the price here too at 33-1. And I'll have to give the rest of my card later because there's 2 or 3 other outrights that I like and a lot of top 5s and top 10s and 20s that I like too.
Well, we might have to get to a little bit of your card here because you almost have the exact same 3 guys as me. And and I actually had Morikawa. And I ended up just bumping him down to as my 4th guy. So when you laid out Morikawa, then went to Homa, and then I was like, "Okay, where's he going next?" And sure enough, Theegala at 33-1. I was like, "Damn it!" 2nd at the Century, 5th at the Waste Management, 6th here last year. So I like him. The one with like Homa. Why are we getting him at 20-1?
He's been really bad to start the year. That's all it is. It's recent.
I know he missed. He missed the cut at Waste Management. Which I think is good. I think it's good for he didn't have to worry about anything going on there in the weekend.
Yeah. Got
some rest, can set up for this. Some of the numbers I got, like you laid it out. 2nd, T10, win T5 going back the last 4 years. This was from Justin Ray. I thought this was a really good stat from Justin Ray. He's a golf guy we've had on our show a lot in the past. I don't know if we've had him on EST yet, but we had him on a lot back at the old place. Max Homa, over the last 4 years at Riviera, on putts between 4 to 8 feet, Homa's 88.5%. The rest of the field is 64.6. That's 24% higher he is than the rest of the field at putts 4 to 8 feet. So, I mean, we usually try to find guys with the current form and the course history. There's just such overwhelming course history here with Homa that I feel like this is the course that gets his form back to where it needs to be. So at 20-1 for Homa on this track, I mean, I have to be on it. So I'm on Homa. I'm on Theegala, as you already said. Morikawa was one of the guys that I was definitely look at. He averages 67.5 per round at Riviera. And the other one, this guy's actually, so I mixed it up a bit. I'm going back to one of the guys I was on last week, and he took a legitimate run at it. But the last 2 times at this event, he's missed the cut. But I'm going to go back to Sam Burns. Loved what I saw from Sam Burns last week. The last 2 years here, like I mentioned, missed the cut. But he finished 3rd in 2021, and it was basically on the strength of one bad round. Shot a 74 one round, I think, in 2021 in the 3rd round. And it basically cost him that tournament. So he's been excellent so far. His last 3 starts, his only 3 starts this season, T6, 10th, and T3. I mean, the guy's he's been top 10 automatic, played well last week, has success on this course, just not in the last couple of years. And what's the number on Burns? Is it 20? Where is it here? I 25 to 1. That's what I thought. Yeah, 20. I had 25 to 1 written down. So Sam Burns at 25 to 1. Missing the cut the last couple of years at this course makes me a little bit nervous, but he's just been so good so far, and he was very close just a few years ago. So I like Sam Burns there. A couple other things. You might want to plug your ears on this one. I can't lay top 10 plus 163. Plus 163 for a Cantley top 10. He's T15 or better in 4 of his 6 times here. So,
yeah, he's good here, man. I was doing some research, and I mean, if the name it was like a blind resume test, I'd be like, man, why am I not betting this guy? Oh wait, because it's Cantley. Yeah, that's oh god, that's a no brainer. I hate how much I like that bet. I just hate Cantley.
Rod Z is in the chat and says Max Homa, he's got the yips. Sorry, Dusty. But can the yips get sorted out at a track that he usually feels so comfortable at?
If there's anywhere to fix it, it's here.
Well, you would hope, right?
And again, yeah, he was really bad last week. He missed the cut. Pebble Beach, I think he finished, even, was T66. At Torrey Pines, he was in the hunt. He ended up falling off, but he still finished like T13. He was T14 at the Century. So it's really only the last few weeks is where he started to get the yips. And you mentioned, Justin Ray, awesome follow.
Yeah.
If you're a golf fan, if you're casual, you got to follow him, no doubt. I'd love to see if you guys have him back on.
Oh, he's terrific, sure. Man. Yeah, we love him.
He's money, but I saw another one. I missed the one that you threw out there, but I saw another one for Homa. Over the last 4 years, here is where he ranks against players with 8+ rounds in the following categories: score to par, first; birdies or better, first; the one you mentioned, putting 4 to 8 feet, first; stroke gain total, first; stroke gains putting, second. He owns this place. He dominates this place. This is where we had that great moment where you got really emotional after winning this tournament, right? A couple of years ago. This was kind of the springboard for, hey, Max Homa's not just a funny guy on Twitter that is a good follow. He's actually a legitimate good golfer. I guess if we're throwing other ones there, the other one that I considered, I probably still will bet, but maybe it's more of a top 10. Cam Young. I know his career has been very up and down and crazy. You don't really know what golfer Cam Young is, but he's been great here at Riviera. He finished T2 in 2020 and then T20 the year before that. He is leading in strokes gained in this field. I know he's only played here twice, so that's why he didn't qualify for some of those other stats. But he's gaining 2.89 strokes while playing here. He's a guy that I think, again, if he can just figure out the flat stick, and I know that's easier said than done, especially at Riviera, he is a guy that it's crazy to think he still hasn't won on the PGA Tour. I think this is a weekend where he could, and I don't know if he gets it done, but I think you're going to see Young on the leaderboard a lot in this tournament. So maybe not outright bet is something that I'd suggest, but maybe look at his top 20, his top 10 number. That might be a little bit of a safer play if you're like me and have already sprayed the board quite a bit.
Well, there's one more guy that I do want to bring up in honor of a man who's not with us here today, and Andrew Hustler Patterson. And I know exactly what Huss would have said if he had texted us the picks, or if he would have been here today. He would have pointed out that Tony Finau has finished second twice at this event. And Tony Finau right now to win it, it's plus 3,000, but I almost feel like in spirit of Huss, we got to get a Finau top 20 into our parlay. Does that not make sense?
Yes, we do.
All right. So
yes, we do. It's exactly what he would.
Yeah, it is. We're doing it for Huss. So, I mean, if we're building this partner parlay, Tony Finau in honor of Huss, and I mean, he's been very close at this event.
I don't hate it either.
Yeah, no, exactly.
I don't hate it either.
I was fine with it anyway. So Tony Finau top 20. Now, since we are so hot and heavy on Homa, should we try to avoid him in the parlay just in case the yips ring true when we like so many other guys anyway, right? So, like, I love the Morikawa play. I love the Morikawa play. He was my number 4. So we put Morikawa in at top 20 as well. And then we just need one more.
Do you want to go Sahith? Do we go Sahith at
well, that's going to give us a better number for sure, right? Because he's plus 110, top 20.
Or do we go Burns minus 143? Burns has been playing great.
He's got 3 straight top 10s.
Oh God, that's hard to go against.
Yeah, I just the him missing the cut here the last 2 times. I just wonder if there's something.
Yeah, and Sahith, obviously a much younger golfer.
Man,
but
Burns has been
he
so
was-
good lately. I
know.
I think we go Burns.
They both have been really good.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I think we got to go Burns.
So
I think we'll go.
Yeah.
We'll go Burns.
So Burns, Finau, and Morikawa, top 20.
Yeah, and to be honest, again, this is going to be an ongoing thing with the lock shop this year. Theegala, it was an emotional roller coaster for me all weekend long, and that's just the type of golfer he is. And I think I'm going to be riding him all season long, so we can just etch it in stone. He's going to be on every single card this year. But watching on Sunday, it's just like, okay, he's back in it, and then he's on, then back in it. So I would tell people to avoid maybe if the sweat isn't what you're looking for on a nice casual Sunday. But man, he's a fun golfer to watch. I think it's only a matter of time until he wins one of these things. But it's a tough field. This would be a really impressive one for him to win here. And I think we got to go with the safer play here with Burns.
I think so too.
Lately.
I think so. It's Burns, it's Morikawa, and it's Tony Finau top 20. And,
and I've already got to hit the win. I've got him to finish top 10. I'm probably
we're all already on Homa anyway, so we might as well be there.
Yep.
You know, and just quickly, I'm not on Denny McCarthy this week, so if he wins, I'm going to be pissed.
He's going to win.
So I'll just throw it out there right now. I'm going to come on Monday and be like, "Are you kidding me, Denny McCarthy? Like that's nuts." And Rod Z in the chat.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Rod Z says,
"Congratulations on winning."
Huss is still wearing his mask in Mexico right now. It's Wednesday.
Can you imagine this?
They won on Sunday. I honestly think there's like a 20% chance he probably still has the mask on.
I was going to say, I saw he posted some pictures on Instagram of the wedding. Looked great. Congratulations to his 2 friends who got married. I was deep down inside hoping he was going to be dressed up for the wedding and still have the mask on.
This full-blown Jason Kelsey, that thing, right at the wedding.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he's gonna come back first day of lock shop. He's gonna come on, and it's just gonna be only this part of his mouth is tanned on his eyes.
Man, he actually dressed up kind of nice for the wedding.
I know.
I've never seen Huss.
Great.
White pants and a button-up shirt. Are you kidding me?
I know, he looked phenomenal.
Look at that guy.
I was blown away.
Living his best life.
Absolute
Unbelievable. All right.
Before though, I forgot. I can't. And again, my Greggy's golf special.
Yes.
Aberg, Theegala, and Wyndham Clark all to finish top 20. Wyndham Clark's another guy that I hummed and hawed for.
He was on the perimeter for me because he's 40-1. I think he's 40-1.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And that's one thing to notice too. And I think I mentioned this a couple weeks ago. I think Wyndham Clark was the shortest winner on tour so far this year at like 88-1. Everything has been.
It's time for one of the big boys to hit one here. So.
And this is a course that it's like a horse for the course or a course for the horses. It's a studded, loaded field. I think this is one where it's a big, sexy name that wins a tournament, and good for us because we got some of the biggest names in golf on our card.
We're on a few of them. Tom Gazzola is sitting here ready to go with Oil Stream, and he says in the chat, Huss is wearing the mask and only the mask in Mexico right now. So. He better enjoy Mexico because I'm not sure they're allowing him back down there, which should be good. Not. Excellent. Well, good show today, Patty. We'll chat with you tomorrow. To all the Lock Shoppers, thank you very much for joining us today. Good luck tonight, and we'll talk to you tomorrow right here on the Lock Shop.